Hi guys, it's Rachelle from Mono Lane Furniture. Just a quick little intro. Today I'm going to be making this beautiful girl over. It's a really solid piece, really nice, originally from Harvey Norman. I did the bedsides a few weeks ago and sold those straight away. I generally don't sell sets, so if I pick up a set, which I do quite frequently, I'll pick up a set, but I sell them separately. Anyway, I've got the camera set up ready to go. Oh, look at my shed, still looking a bit full. So I'll do it in slow time. I'm also doing some Christmas decorating today, so I'll be jumping in and out of this. But yeah, anyway, enjoy. Okay, first thing I'm going to be doing is taking these off. I'm not going to use them, but I just wanted to show you, because I'm on the bedsides. I had a bit of a drama because obviously you can't see screws this end, but there's also not any this end. So when I first tried to take these off, I was almost trashing it. I was like, sometimes they're tacks and you can sort of flip them off, but not in this case. This is a really solid piece. So what you actually have to do is take off this drawer front here. See, there's actually 5 screws holding it on, and then the fixtures are on the other side of it. So I won't video me doing that because it'll be a bit of a drawn out process, but that's how they're coming off. So this front piece comes off, and then the screws are behind that, and then I'll fill those. Beep beep Bailey. Okay, I'll just quickly show you this one. I'll take this one drawer front off just to show you. It's a bit of a pain, to be honest, but it's a really good quality piece of furniture, so I'm not complaining. It's just an extra stage that I prefer not to have to do, but it's better than what I did before, which was almost trashing the piece with frustration, trying to get the bloody thing off the front. Because obviously some of them have just got tacks where you can flick them out. You have to be careful not to damage the wood, but because I couldn't see any screw holes on this side, that's where I thought this one was, but not. But at least because I've done it before now, I know the process. I'm not sure what colour I'm going to do this yet. I'll go through my stash. For those of you that watch me regularly or follow my Instagram account, you'll know that I have pots of paint, and I'll show you them in a little while, that I just tip all my leftovers into. And yeah, so I get some pretty good colours. Oh, this isn't coming off easy. I've got 3 4-litre pots. One is a sort of dark grey, one is a lighter grey. Alright, Harper. And the other one has turned into a really beautiful light sage, which I'm really pleased about, because green is my favourite colour. Sorry, you're really just listening to me talk here, but I don't want to speed up this process. You can see how long it takes. So like I said, in between doing this today, I'm going to be finishing off the decorations inside. I'm going to be doing the tree. My daughter's coming in to do that with me, because it's the first year that she's not going to be living here. So can you see it's starting to get loose? It's starting to come off the front now. Yeah, so she's coming to decorate the tree with me, and the living room, the living room. We've done the outside. We've got all solar lights up at the back, and then we've got all the electrical lights at the front. So I've just got to finish off, and I've decorated inside, but I've just got to finish doing the tree, the front veranda and the deck. I do go all out. I'm a little bit nuts for Christmas, not as bad as I used to be, because it's just me and my husband here now. So I can't really justify going too crazy with it. Plus it can get quite expensive. Okay, that's the 4 screws off. So now it's just a regular, take those off and those will come off. Okay, so I'll get on with that. Oh, and you can see these drawers, they're such good quality. It's solid wood, and rather than being on the metal runners, they've got these grooves on the side. They glide really smoothly, really nice. Okay, I'll get back to you. Okay, so I've taken all the drawer pulls off now. It's a bit of a task having to undo the backs, but you know, you've got to do what you've got to do. One tip as well will be just to leave one of the screws that holds the front plate on, so that it's still aligned, and then you can just sort of spin it out of position so that you can unscrew and then slide it back. Hello, Harper. Now I'm going to fill these holes. I'm not sure what drawer pulls I'm putting on this, because I really haven't even put any thought into yet what colour I'm going to do it, or which drawer pulls, but I do know that I'm not going to be using these. So look, I've got both girls here. Let me show you. Okay, girls, thank you, thank you. Okay, leave me alone. Sorry about that. But I do know I'm not going to be using these, so I'm just going to fill it. Now I have been using Dixie Belle mud. I've run out of it, so really that's the main reason that I'm not using it today. But what I've been finding on the last few jobs with it as well is that I've had to do quite a few passes over it, about 3, until it completely fills. So it could be that my application is wrong. What I also found is after I've sanded it and then I clean it down, that it would reactivate. So because I was using the brown one, they do have it in different colours, I was getting a brown sort of smudge as I was doing it. Obviously that's not very good, you then have to wait for it to dry. I mean, you have to wait for it to dry anyway, but it's just not something that I was a fan of if I was going to be doing a light colour over top. That being said, I shouldn't use brown filler if I'm doing a light colour, but that's just something that I've decided to do. I'm going to go back to what I was using. What I was using previously was spac filler. I don't have any of that either, excuse me. You can get that from Bunnings, relatively cheap. I do have Timbermate. This is also good. I can't remember, I haven't got a clue how much, but it's also from Bunnings. It's nice to work with. I just put it on with my finger. Yeah, and just, oh, great start, Rachelle. So I'll just push it into the hole with my finger, and then I've got, this is actually my Dixie Belle mud spatula, so I'll just flatten it in with that afterwards, but sort of have it overflowing, because you're gonna sand it back, and you may need to, obviously smells good, you may need to do a second pass on it. Harper, it's not food. My dogs are nuts. They do make my days fun though. No, Akavi, don't! I'm hoping to get as much as I can done of this morning, but before it gets too hot, because I can feel that temperature rising. So this is a lot thicker than the mud. So what I'm doing here is pushing it in. I want to scrape all of it off. Like I could do that and it looks like it's great, but then when you sand it, you're definitely going to need another pass over it. My ideal scenario always is that I don't need another pass, but girls, really? It smells a bit like coconut. I think they're liking it. It's not food, girls, really. I wonder what it's made of. What's in it that they like? Get off, girls. Got the ingredients in here. There we No, don't eat it. I'm sure it's not healthy to eat. Beep beep. Oh, they do my head in already. Yeah, so like I said, I did the bed sides of this. With the bed sides, I did them in it was a custom like pale blue grey colour from my mix pot. And then on the top I did a driftwood effect. I used Unique Options Beach, I think, as the base, with Purico is it Whisper? The white one? Yeah, Purico Whisper over top. It came out really nice. But I'm going to do something different with this one, I think. I'll just go through and see what colours I've got and what sort of shouts at me. I'm making a bit of a pig's ear at this, but it's only the first one. It's really tacky. I prefer a spatula for this. Which is great for pushing it in, but it's not very good with the spatula. Anyway, it's going to be sanded off. Do a better job than me, guys. Yeah, this isn't really doing a particularly good job. I mean, it's doing the job, but it doesn't really go with my laziness because it's making me really work. See, normally I would put it onto this, which I can do, it just doesn't fit in the pot. This is actually the part that I don't mind doing because I can just sit down doing it, which, you know, when you're lazy and stuff, it's a bit good. So the next job after this will be, I'll sand the top whilst this is drying. I'll show you the sanders, the sander that I use now and the sander that I used to use, because the sander that I use now is a professional one, and obviously not everyone can afford that, certainly not at the beginning. So I'll show you that. Oh, you're kidding, she's licking it. Did you see that? Harper, what the heck is this made of? I don't know. There must be some sort of food element to it. Don't lick it. Well, it's not reactivating while she's licking it, so that's good. I hope it's not poisonous. I'm going to worry all day now about that. Non-flammable. Oh, it says harmless. Okay, hopefully that's to dogs too. No more licking this, okay? You silly girls. And children, don't get any ideas from my dogs. No eating the timbermate filler, okay? Might smell good, but I'm sure it won't be good for you. You hear those birds? We've got a plum tree that's gone wild this year, and the lorikeets are loving it. We don't eat the plums because, well, firstly the lorikeets get to them before we do, but we also, I bit into one the other day, I had maggot in it, so I need to do something about that if I ever want to eat them. I need to get some sort of spray, but it's so big now, I don't know how we'd even go about that. Maybe those of you with green thumbs could advise me. I don't have a green thumb. I've got a lemon tree too, and that's gone wild this year, so I don't know. I suppose we have had a lot of rain and stuff, so maybe that's helped. I love the lorikeets, so they're my favourite bird. Oh, apart from the kookaburra. I love them. Just love listening to them. They call their friends, I can tell. Well, in my head that's what they're doing. When they're in the eating. Oh, I don't know. No, you can't see the tree. When they're eating, they're either calling their friends or they're telling their friends to get away and leave their food alone. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to leave that scruffy. Like I said, I would normally use the spatula to flan it out a little bit, but it's not really playing so well for that. So I'm going to leave it as it is, wait for it to dry, then I'll come back and probably do another run over it. But first, now I'm going to prep for the, not prep, I'll show you the sandpapers that I'm going to be using, and the sander that I have now and that I had previously, so you know what you can use. Okay, I'll be back in a sec. Okay, this is the sander that I use now. So this is the professional one. It's a GEX 125 AVE Bosch Professional. If you get one of these, they're really good. They have less vibration. They're not so quiet. They're quite heavy, not so quiet, but I really like it. You have to empty this. You get very little dust as well, very little, as long as you keep this emptied. And you have to empty this at least after each job, sometimes during a job. And the top screws off. It took me a while to figure that out. So this pulls off, top screws off. I was emptying it through that little spout before, idiot. Anyway, this is really good. When I sand with this one, I generally start off with 100 or 120, and I don't really need to push down or anything. This does the job really well. If I go to a 60 or an 80, it actually doesn't work so well. It doesn't need that level of grip. Okay, so this is my go-to. This is what I had previously, and it did the job just fine. Just took a little longer, and you needed lower grit. So this is the Azito, just the battery-powered one, orbital sander. Obviously needs emptying. Oh, got a lot of dust falling out of it. Yeah, so this isn't so great at catching the sawdust. So there is a bit of a mess that comes with it, and obviously you have to buy the batteries. If you do get this one, I would recommend getting the 2 or the 4 battery. Don't bother with a 1.5 or even 3 or 4 or 5. Don't bother with anything less than that, because it doesn't last that long. It won't last you for one job. So if you get a 4, then you'd be right. So like I said, I would start this on a 60 or an 80. It really does need that to get it started. It takes a bit longer than the other one, but it does the job. So if you're on a budget, which I know most of us are at the beginning, this is a great one. Okay. And then for this the edges, I'll use this little mouse sander. Now this came over with me from the UK many years ago. It's still got the converter plug on it. It does the job well, so you probably can't get this brand over here. A Sand Critter it's called, but you know, they're all much of a muchness. You can buy one of these at but the reason I like this for doing the edges is it's nice and light and it's easy to hold. It's really not so much about the shape of it, because you can manipulate any of the sanders to get into that shape, but just being able to hold it and not feeling the weight, this is really good. Sorry, it's a plane going over. I live right next to a raft base. I'll just wait for that to stop. So I'm going to start with this one now. The first, I'll start it on a 120. If I'm not getting anything with that, I'll go to a 100. So you will have seen this before on my other video. So I'll do the top first as what I call a rough sand. So I'll rough it down. I'll take all the varnish off on this first sand with a 100 or a 120, and I'll do the edges too with the palm sander, the hand sander, and with my hand, sorry, with the palm sander and then my hand usually. Then I will wash it down, then I'll sand it all over, scuff sand it, then I paint then I'll wash it again, then I'll paint the body and the drawers, and then I go back and do the smooth coat, and then on a smooth sand on the top, and then I stain it. The reason I do that, and lots of people do it in a different order, the reason I do that is I find it's much easier to sand off paint if you get it onto this before it's been stained, than if you have this stained and then get paint on it, and then you have to get rid of a little piece of paint that you've got on there, and it also takes the stain off, which it invariably will do, because then you've got to try and match that up. So that's the reason the stain is always the last thing to do for me. Now I need to decide on the colours and the draw pulls. So I'm sure some inspiration will come to me. It will. Okay, I better go on with the sanding. What I'll do is I'll record it, but I'll just speed it up because it's a bit boring. Okay. Okay, so that's the very top done. That was a bit of a dream sand, to be honest. That came up really quite easily. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the sides with the mouse sander, and I'll use an 80 grit for this. Okay, so that's the top done. Now I'm going to sand the body and sand... Take the mask off, Rach. That's the top done. Now I'm going to sand the body and sand these drawers as they dried whilst I've been doing that. Then I'll probably need to do a second run of this. Anyway, let's see how we go. Okay, so I'm actually pretty happy with how these turned out. I don't need to do another run over them, and I don't need to be too fussy because I've decided that I'm using these cup pulls and they will sit right over it, so I don't need to be too fussy. But that actually worked really well and it doesn't need a second run, so that was good. Next is to clean it. And as you've seen before, I use Dixie Belle White Lightning. So this comes in a powder, like a crystal sort of format. It's like, it looks like salt. I see other people mixing it up for each piece of furniture they do, and then just pour it into a bucket, mix it up with warm water and clean it. I'm sure that works brilliantly, and I'm sure that's probably the best way to do it. But the most cost-effective way, certainly for me, is I pre-mix it in this and I just use it as a spray. That way this will last forever. You can use just normal kitchen cleaner, but you'll be surprised how quickly you get through it when when you're flipping one piece a day. You'll be surprised how quickly you get through it. So I've had this for a few months and it's barely used, so that's my hot tip anyway. So I just spray it on, and away you go. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention, on the ends when you're sanding, you'll notice that the ends are much darker because it's on the edge of the grain, and I used to try and just go nuts trying to get rid of it. You really can. So the stain firstly will ingrain more on the edges, but the lines you can't get rid of, they're part of the wood, so it will always look darker on the edges. It looks completely different from this side to that. So if that's something that drives you nuts, it's normal. That's what working with wood is. Leave it, it's beautiful. Isn't it, Harper? So we're almost ready to paint. So I really need to decide what colours I'm doing, don't I? I love it when all the prep's been done. It doesn't take that long once you're into a rhythm of it, but it's so nice when you can just sit down with your brush and start painting. Look at these girls, they're just with me constantly. Come on, give me a kiss. You've got the worst breath ever though. Yes, you have. Good girl. Good girl. You're going to sit on my lap, do you? They're hot. It's not that hot yet, but she can't cope with the heat, this one. She could go inside with the aircon on. But she chooses to be by me. Don't you? Yeah, I know. Go find it. Where's it? Go find it. Yeah, and by the way, when you put on the filler on these and leave it like I did, you do create more work for yourself. So if you can spatula it on, it's better, that is what I liked about Dixie Belle Mud. So, you know, there's swings and roundabouts, pros and cons with everything. If I had Dixie Belle Mud, I would have used it because I do like it. But I just did find that downside that has been bugging me for a while. Oh look, the dog's just brought me a toy, doggy news. That was found on the roof yesterday, apparently. What are we doing, Christmas lights? It was probably thrown up there by one of us when she was driving, isn't it? With it scraping. She's relentless. She doesn't stop. When she's got a toy in her mouth, what is it? I got these new wheels from Bunnings the other day too. Well, my husband did. They're a bit more expensive and it's smaller, but they're solid wood. I don't know if you can see them. Anyway, they're the smaller ones. I think they were some, oh, I can't remember how much. Maybe 30 bucks each rather than the 12, which I wasn't a fan of, especially given that they're smaller. But they are much better quality. Oh, here we go again. And because you know, I don't have a huge space here, a huge indoor space. I've got a deck and then a covering off the deck onto this patio area that furniture very often sits on these wheels on with tarps and blankets over them to protect them. So the wheels are very often in the elements. The furniture never is, but the wheels are. And so they weaken quite a lot. The wood in them weakens because it's only like chipboard, I think. So, oh god, they both have it. Look, you take it. You take it and don't let baby have it. Yeah, so these are much better. Okay, now I just need to wait for it to dry. There, you can see the end there, although that's a patch that needs sanding. But yeah, it's always darker on the edges. So just remember, this has only been rough sanded at the moment. That will have another sand before I put the stain on. Okay, so now I just need to wait for this to dry. I take the drawers out because I always take the drawers out when I paint. I just find it easier, and it's because you can get to the edges around it. It's not necessarily for the drawer, it's to get to these front pieces. So I'll take the drawers out and then I'll get painting. Be back with you soon. Show you my stash of paint. So these are, I think they're 4.6 litre pots from Bunnings Unipro. And I just throw stuff in there and mix it up. Look, that's a beautiful sage. I'm so excited about that. That's a light grey when it's mixed up. Obviously, I always mix it up. And the colour changes each time, and that's the darker. So that's the colour that's on the drawers. Sorry, the TV unit that I did yesterday. It's come out like a very similar to Unique Options Banksia. So yeah, I got some painting I need to be doing. Okay, decision made. This is going to be a Carts and Millie piece. I'm going to use Carts and Millie. Go to cartsandmillie.com for their products in Black Bear. This is a mineral paint. It has a built-in sealer. I tend to put a top coat on it too, just because I like the satin touch rather than the sort of velvety, but that's completely up to you. I'm going to use their washed away stain called How Now. I've not used this before. I just done a test piece on the top, really like it, so I'm going to use that. And then I'm also going to use their satin top coat. So, fully Carts and Millie piece. Let's do this. Here it is after the one coat. I'm thinking it's probably just going to be 2 coats. It's a nice finish. It's quite matte, like I said before, so I probably will put the top coat on, the satin top coat, but you can also feel that it does have a sealer in it. One thing you notice with chalk paint, when chalk paint dries, is it gets a lot lighter, and I don't know the reason behind that, but I'm sure someone technical will be able to advise me. The mineral paints don't really do that. They sort of dry to the colour that you put on. So I'll go in now with a second coat and see how we are after that. Okay, second coat is on and we have full coverage, and I just wanted to show you how smooth this is. Bailey thinks so too. Look how well that self levels. That is really beautiful. Oh, need to do underneath there. That is really gorgeous. Okay, for the final coat, we've got full coverage with 2 coats, so I don't need it for the paint, for the coverage. This is for the what I prefer to add on as a top coat. So I'm going to be using the Carts and Millie top coat. But when applying a top coat over a dark colour, there is a tendency or a risk that you're going to get smears. So what I like to do is just mix it in with the paint. So I've got a little bit of paint in here still. So now I'm going to mix in. Oh my god, I'm so weak. Oh, Bailey, you're going to have to open this for me. This is obviously sealed on itself. Oh, I can hear it cracking. Just talk amongst yourselves, people. Okay, we're good. Right, because it's so creamy, it's literally, well, it's like milk. So I'm going to pour that in here. Get a bit more paint. Oh, that's not paint. Oh, that was lucky. That's the stain. There, and I'll mix that up. And then we'll be good to go. I'm going to have to get this dog out of my way. Look at her. Right, I'm just going to go and get a mixer and then we'll get started. Okay, we're all stirred up. So this is now my top coat. So even if we do get streaks, they'll be a lot lighter than if it was milky streaks. Right, let me put the lid on these things because Bailey is on form today, running everywhere, chasing flies that don't exist. This colour is stunning. It's the first time I've used it. So let's go. See if this plan works. I'm excited about this piece. I've already done the second coat on the drawers, by the way. I just didn't think it was really worth me moving the camera to show you that. Pretty sure you're okay with doing drawers for the second time. So after this, I just need to let it dry before I sand the top again. And then put the drawer pulls on and we'll be good to go. And what's the time? It's 10:57. I think I started this at about 8:30. So these jobs don't take long once you've got a routine. Even if you've got little kids, you can get someone to take them out for a few hours for you. You can definitely get some good work in a few hours. I can't believe it's only 10:57 actually. So you can see as it's going on, well, I don't know if you can see, it's sort of got a bit of a milky look to it, but that dissipates quite quickly. And this will give us a lovely satin finish. Right, I'll just get on with the rest. I'll speed it up and we'll get this done. Right, so it's dried and we now have this beautiful, really smooth satin finish in just 3 coats total. So that's beautiful. So I've got a bit of the mixture left, that's both the top coat and the paint. That won't go to waste. I'll put that in one of my huge pots, and that'll be fine. I'll just add some top coat to that, give it a better finish. Yeah, I'm really happy with this. On to the top. Okay, it's time for the staining now. So I'll just wipe it off after I've dusted, make sure there's no remnants of sawdust. Oh. Bit windy, so that is blowing around. Can you see the dogs in the back? Kind of ridiculous. Okay, so give this a good shake. Like I say, it's called How Now. It's a brown. How Now brown cow, I guess. And I'm going to be applying it with this sponge that I got off eBay. A job lot of them. You've seen me use the Dixie Belle sponge before. It's pretty much just these, two of these stuck together really. So this will do the job just fine. So as you've seen before, I like to go from one end to the other, ideally. Dogs, you're going to have to get away. Pour it on and rub it in. And the reason I go from one end to the other is you don't want these stop and start marks where you overlap. I'm going to try and make it as smooth as possible so it looks like it is the colour of the grain. This is a lovely colour, I've not used it before. And what I'll do with this is add the clear top coat as well, probably a couple of coats of that. And then I just need to add the draw pulls and we are good to go. It's probably going to be a long video, guys, sorry, but that's just how it is when I need to show you from start to finish. Because I know it's frustrating when I miss out pieces or if I just speed it all up and don't explain what I'm doing. So I'll try and make this a good one. I'm really happy with these products. You've seen that, well, you may have seen that I've reviewed the Carts and Millie paint previously and liked it, and the top coat, but I've not actually no, that's a lie, I have used it, I just didn't video it. I used the Daisy's Milk on a full bedroom set, and I did the same process there as I added the top coat to the paint, and that worked out really well. So that's something I'll be doing regularly for sure. Just makes life a lot easier, I think. As long as you're not wasting stuff, like I said, because I then tip the remnants into my 4-litre pots. It's all good. Obviously you don't want to be just tipping the stained top coat into those pots all the time because it'll be too diluted, but every now and again that's fine. In mine I've actually got old Dulux sample pots that were just flat, no top coat. So by adding a bit of top coat in it, that'll give it a nice satin finish. So, you know, it's good to mix that in. I know some people are scared of mixing paints and stuff together, but as long as they're all water based, you're good to go. Just paint. I mean, what's going to happen? Oh. Right, and I'll just go over this again now. It's drying as I'm doing it. It's no issue with work time, which is great. And I've used next to none. Love that. Really beautiful colour. I think it's quite cheap as well. So it hasn't got... Oh shit, sugar. Look at that, seriously. Can I do any of these videos without having any sort of faux pas? Oh, these videos are beyond real, aren't they? Anyway, it hasn't got the price on it, but they're pretty cheap, I think. Seriously, Rach. Covered. Oh well, that's good, you got a good work time with this. No one would know that I just tipped a pot of stain on it. Let's just rub my hand on that, shall we? It's beautiful. I'm starting to leave the edges until last as well, because they take the stain a lot better. So you generally don't need to have the same amount of coats on the edges as you do, certainly on the sides, as you do on the top, because it takes it so well. So you don't want to end up with really dark edges. The wind was terrible yesterday. It blew, or the day before. It blew our shed over. I have no idea how it managed that. I'm just glad the dogs weren't underneath it. Imagine that. Poor things. Look, I worry about stuff that doesn't even happen. It's ridiculous, isn't it? What do you think of this, guys? You like it? I love it. Love, love, love. Heaps of work time. And this is a hot day, so that speaks volumes. Likewise with the paint, the finish is amazing, the work time is fantastic. And for those who don't know what I mean by work time, what you don't want is a product to dry too quickly on you, because you can't, well, both correct mistakes like I just had to do, but also get a nice layer, a nice coat, because if it dries too quickly and gets tacky, you'll create texture, and then you have to fix that, which can be a bloody nightmare. Right, I think I'm happy with that top now, so I'm just going to do the edges, and you'll see just one coat, and that's a lot that's dark, so you don't want to give yourself a really dark edge. The sides, the fronts won't be so bad because they'll take it the same as the top does, but the sides at the edge of the grain will take it really well. This is looking so good, even if I do say so myself. Should I keep it? No, I can't keep all of them, can I? I've got a mustard one in my bedroom, mustard bedsides, mustard low boy. But the beauty is I can keep changing it. So, but I'm not going to, I promise I'm going to sell it. Oh, I'm in love with it though. Should I keep it? No. No, Rachelle, it's got to go. Right, that's as dark as I want it. Oh, it's bloody beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Carts and Millie. And I've used there, I'm at about that much I've used. so it's hardly anything, and you know, half of that's on my hand like an idiot. Okay, I'll let that dry, then I'll put the top coat on, and then it's just the drawer pulls. Right, it's all dry. Now time for the top coat. I'm going to use a sponge as well to do this. Right, Bailey. You don't need much at all, so I'm going to spread this out if I've got too much on. And I'll do 2, maybe 3 coats of it, see how it holds up. And again, I'm just doing these long strokes, just minimising any marks that you might get. So whilst the top coat's drying, I'm just going to put the drawer pulls on. So because I wasn't so fussy, I'm not sure how much you can see on here, but there's slight indentations that you can use as a guide to where to place these. I generally eyeball it when I'm putting these on. I don't spend ages getting the ruler out and measuring. I will eyeball it. So all I want to do really is make sure that those indentations are covered up. I don't want to screw into them because it won't give us a strong enough hold, but just be covered up. So yeah, I'll just get on with that, and shouldn't take too long. So with these, I don't even do a pilot hole. I don't drill a pilot hole. I just push hard with these little screws to start them off, and they go in pretty easily. Okay, I'll come back to you when those are done.